What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Couple Things.
With Shawn and Andrew.
A podcast all about couples.
And the things they go through.
Guys, D-Day is quickly approaching.
Can you believe it?
No, I was like, dude, it's almost November. It's November tomorrow.
That's crazy.
Which means like we're a month away.
I know. I was also thinking, that's crazy. We're coming on 4 years of this podcast. That's crazy. I'm freaking 32 years old. That's crazy. We have
crazy.
A 4-year-old.
How do we have a 4-year-old?
I don't know, man. Life is just moving quickly.
It's moving really fast.
Don't forget to stop and smell the roses.
I know.
As they say, you know?
You guys have requested this episode for a while. We did one a long time ago and thought we would bring it back, which is just a Q&A. You guys had a lot of really good questions about parenting, marriage, motherhood, getting ready for baby, all of it. Let's put the asterisk in there now. We don't have any of this figured out, but we'll tell you what we're going through and how we're getting through it.
We used to do Q&As much more than we do now.
Yep.
And I miss them, to be honest. They're always really fun. We've done a couple on the main channel, and all the questions were about pretty much how often do we get jiggy with it while you're pregnant. That's pretty much the full theme of that video.
No, anyway, I feel like that's the question, pregnant or not. That's all people want to know.
It's like there's more to life, you know? Like we enjoy that part of it.
Every day.
All right, let's go ahead and dive into it, shall we? So these are all from Instagram. Thank you for partaking.
Yes, we had thousands come in within like minutes. It was wild.
If you didn't know, if you just listened to us on a podcast, first of all, that's really interesting to think about. How did you come across Shawn and Andrew if it's just on podcast? But we're also on YouTube, which is my favorite. Instagram is Shawn's favorite.
Yeah. TikTok.
Facebook, TikTok, email, newsletters.
We're everywhere.
Thank goodness that we have people to help us do that. Yeah. Anyway, so these are from Instagram.
First up, you said you're about to have your first child. What's the best advice you've gotten for the dynamic shift within marriage? Whew.
This person is about to have their first child.
Your world's about to be rocked. I would say, what's the best advice we've been given for the dynamic shift? Not to be like, I don't mean to be negative with this. I don't think anybody gave us any advice or warned us that there would be a dynamic shift within our marriage before our first baby.
People generally say, wow, it changes everything, like you just did.
Yeah.
But specifically, I think that it's different being married to a mom. And what I mean by that is my wife, who was like previously just my best friend pretty much, and, you know, romantic partner, the whole thing, now became like her focus and intensity of love was channeled towards a child. And so she's like, you know, Shawn displayed that through being super scheduled, being routine oriented, like very routine. She wasn't like, there would be certain things that I felt like would have been a conversation in a past life, but with a child, she's like, she shuts it down. Absolutely not. I'm not going to entertain that. You're probably like that same way with me, where just more like, hey, don't hold the baby like that. And it comes off as like, okay, wow. You know, it's a little jarring. Yeah. And then also it's fascinating within marriage and within a friends group, like the lifestyle differences and preferences really get exaggerated and highlighted, I feel like. So if you're into holistic medicine, that really displays itself when you have a child. Or if you're routine oriented like Shawn and I, that really displays itself when you have a child. So those are some of the more specific ways that your life changes, as well as the identity change that you go through individually. So Shawn became a mom. That's like a big identity shift. Like it's like that's dang near immediate. And then you, if you're a husband like I was, you go through this shedding of yourself, almost is how I describe it, where you're like, okay, I'm not golfing with the boys. I remember before we had Drew, it was our schedule beforehand was like Andrew's hanging out with the guys, and that was my quick video game phase with some of the guys, and you lose that. And so it's like this big identity shift. Your time changes, how you know what your focus on changes. It is really like walking into another phase of life.
I think I've had the same I've had the same meltdown with every kid around like the 32-3 week mark where I just start crying cuz I remember with Drew, I had this fear of Andrew is my best friend. He is my partner in crime, everything. And I was like, I'm afraid of what another person within our family will do to that dynamic. And I have that same fear with every baby. I'm like, how is it going to change us? And I think the greatest piece of advice I could give you guys is understand that things change. Understand that like your dynamic is going to change. But look at it as going back to your dating phase. Like get to know your now husband who's now a dad. Get to know your wife who's now a mom. Start dating again. Court each other. Don't forget that you're still husband and wife, because I feel like a lot of times you can get consumed by being just mom and dad.
Yeah. There's a lot of shifts
There's
that
a lot.
happen. All right, next. What is your love language at the moment, and has your love language changed over time? For those that don't know, the love languages are acts of service, words of affirmation, physical touch, gift giving, and quality time. Do you want to answer for each other?
Sure.
I think Sean's love language right now is physical touch.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think mine is?
Words of
I
affirmation.
think you're right.
Yeah. But I kind of think they've kind of always been that. I don't know if they've changed a lot.
I feel like I've needed it more in words of
Mhm.
affirmations. I feel like it's shifted. I feel like quality time was big, but I wonder why that happens. I'm totally good with it. Life has been interesting. It's been
Yeah.
jarring, and I feel like I have lost a lot of people that used to just subtly give me words of affirmation.
Yeah.
So I need that
Now
more
it's
from you.
me.
Just solely one. I need to
And
diversify my.
I don't know. I think things just change or enhance over time because what life looks like changes over time. It's not always the same.
Never.
I just need more comfort now. I just need you to like hold me. Tell me it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What daily habits do you do that have been or had a huge impact on your life?
Wow. Let me try to just deconstruct our day
I
here.
know.
We haven't done a day in the life in a long time, by the way.
We haven't. We should. Well,
Yeah.
our day in life is about to drastically change.
Yeah.
I would say one of my favorite things that we've implemented over the years that I love that we do every day is what we call bev time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is more for like parents, but it could be for any couple. After we put the kids down at night, so like our day has been consumed by work and kids and being mom and dad. After we put the kids down, we come downstairs and we sit around our table and share a drink of some kind, whether it's like you get a glass of water, whatever. And we spend like 10 minutes or more just kind of debriefing our day, talking to each other as husband and wife, going over anything that we haven't shared with each other yet from the day or get prepared for the next day. But it's like our time to connect.
Yeah, what do they say? You need 90 minutes a week
Mm-hmm.
of connection to keep a marriage healthy.
So that's 70 right there.
Yeah. It's gone a long way. Honestly, I think I wake up at like 5:30
Mm-hmm.
and we'll usually listen to a sermon. I used to wake up at like 7 and we used to turn on the Today Show like every day.
Every day.
This was 10 years ago. And I think the sermon has made a big change because it's like a more profound way to wake up your day than just get a deluge of negative information, you know? And you're like, oh, okay. I like the heady thoughts of a sermon. I like, the idea of thinking about God as opposed to tragedies of the world. And I think that's made me a better dad and husband, as opposed to me coming in stressed right out the gate.
Yeah.
You good?
Yeah. I feel like the news used to stress us out so much, and so we got rid of it. I would also say without us knowing that we do this, I'm realizing that we do this, which is we have coffee every single morning. But only one person makes coffee, and whoever that is makes coffee for both people. So whoever goes over to the coffee machine always makes coffee for both Andrew and I, not a third party. I don't know how to make that make sense. But I think being able to share coffee together and like bring it to one another each morning has been really special.
It's like a small olive branch to start the day.
So like if I go over to the coffee machine, I'm making coffee for me and Andrew, and I get to take it to him, and it's special.
There's a ton of daily habits we have, though. Shawn and I are very routine oriented, and I've embraced it. I used to think I was like a free for all, but I never was.
You never were.
Next question: do you ever worry about middle child syndrome with having 3 kids? This person wants 3 kids, but they're anxious about the middle child syndrome, which is believing that middle children don't receive as much attention, and thus they act out. What is the Lord teaching you both in this season is the final part of that question. I'm a middle child. I'm the middle of 5. I freaking love middle children. I think we're the most well-balanced and well-rounded.
Are you saying this about yourself?
Yeah. No, just generally.
I think we're the most well-balanced people.
I think most intellectual.
Yeah.
I've never worried about that in my life.
I don't think I'm worried about middle child syndrome. I am feeling the same fear with Jet right now that I felt with Drew when Jet was on the way, which is I just don't feel like I've had enough one-on-one time with him. And I know he's going to get less time because of another kid. Same with Drew. She's going to get less time because there's another kid. And he's my baby right now. So to see that like another baby is going to replace the baby role scares me.
And honestly, I feel like of all children that could handle being a middle child, Jet is well
but he's
positioned.
My baby.
He's like super independent. Actually, Drew is very independent as well, but Jet can just go play on his bike for an hour and a half.
I know.
He already does that. Hold on, we didn't answer the second part.
Oh, what is the Lord teaching us both in this season?
Honestly, so I just started my PhD, and they say like
okay.
I know I'm gonna say that. No, I'm gonna say that at least 80 times.
I'm not calling you Doc.
They say that that's an interesting degree to get because you realize the boundaries and the limits of your own knowledge. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I've learned that in my brief time starting that degree, but also I've learned my limits in life as a whole. Mm-hmm. I used to try to, by used to, I mean like 2 months ago, until 2 months ago, my entire life until 2 months ago, feel like I need to be the best at everything. Physically, financially, intellectually, father, husband. Mm-hmm. And that is impossible to do, is what I'm realizing now at the age of 32. And I don't know. There's something peaceful about coming to terms with the fact that you can't do it all, you know? And it's humbling. You got to just kind of look at yourself in the mirror and be like, you can't do it. You can't do it. And that hurts sometimes, but that's what I'm learning.
I think I am learning more and more with each kid since we're on our third. I feel like with our daughter, with our first, I felt like my fists were like so tight. I would like clench control so hard. I wanted to control absolutely everything. I wanted to protect her. I wanted to control her milestones. I wanted like everything. I just wanted to be in control of the situation. You have a second kid, you kind of loosen the reins a little bit. And I've just kind of gotten to this point where I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to pray for you. I know God's got you. I'm going to pray for your heart. And I'm going to do the best I can. But I'm going to know it's going to be okay.
It's like introducing and welcoming faith.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think we can all relate. When I say sometimes as a parent, I can feel pretty worn out and sluggish. If you're a longtime listener, you might know that Shawn and I have been drinking AG1 for almost 4 years now. Can you believe it's been 4 years?
Yeah.
And it's really helped us with this feeling of sluggish.
Yes, I love AG1. When I started drinking it daily, it really gave me that extra energy to make it through the day and even helped me feel more focused. That's because AG1 is a foundational nutrition supplement. that supports your body's universal needs like gut optimization, stress management, and immune support. Since 2010, AG1 has led the future of foundational nutrition, continuously refining their formula to create a smarter, better way to elevate your baseline health.
I feel so much healthier when I'm consistent with drinking AG1 daily, which honestly, unless we're traveling, I drink it every single day. And especially now that cold and flu season is here, I'm relying on it more than ever to arm my immune system. I always try to really dial in my nutrition during the fall and winter months to prevent getting sick. And honestly, it helps.
And it helps massively given we're having a baby in the fall.
Yes.
We recommend AG1 to all of our family and friends because you can honestly feel a difference. Plus, AG1 is tested for 950 contaminants, is formulated based on the latest science, and always maintains high quality standards so you know you're getting top of the line nutrition.
As athletes, we've been taking supplements for a long time, and this stuff really is top notch. All the certifications they have.
I wish we had it back then. It's actually supported for professional athletics.
Anyway, AG1 is a supplement that we trust to provide the support our body needs daily, and that's why they've been a partner for so long. If you want to take ownership of your health, it starts with AG1.
Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase.
Go to drinkag1.com/couplethings.
That's drinkag1.com/couplethings. Check it out.
Okay, next question.
What is your favorite quirky trait about each other?
I haven't thought about this in a while.
You're so loud.
I am.
You're so loud.
I am pretty loud.
And you're just like a giant goofball. And there was a season of life where I tried to like tame it. And now I'm like, no. It's really cute. I love it.
I love it. I can always tell when Shawn gets excited because I usually get myself in more ridiculous situations than you. But you're always very excited that I'm still alive and have a story to tell.
Yeah.
And whenever we're telling that story, you're always excited to tell that story for me, even if you weren't there. And I used to get annoyed by that. But now I'm like, no, she's just excited too. And I appreciate that.
I love you.
I love you.
If you don't mind sharing, how has your experience with grief been in this season after losing Andrew's dad? Is grief tougher for you around the holidays?
I mean, TBD, we're 10 months into this thing, I guess. So this is the first full holiday season that we'll go through. We'll keep you updated on that. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to talk about because it's such an ambiguous thing that is simultaneously like something that I think about often, but also not really. I don't really like think about it in a concrete way. Like I don't think about how sad I am. You know, it's like people die, you move on. You got to keep doing it. I got to keep waking up and being a dad and a husband and doing the things. But there is like this undercurrent of slight melancholy, maybe like a little more seriousness towards life, responsibility. It's been interesting to see how people around me have also grieved, which has almost then increased my need to be responsible. So, but yeah, I don't know. I don't even know how you talk about grief. It's hard.
I think I'll say this, since I am like one step removed, I feel like I've been able to witness a lot more, and like being your wife who knows that like my husband lost his father, I've been able to kind of, I think, more objectively witness the situation and grieve differently. But I think something that's been really, really cool and powerful that has helped you grieve and your whole family and your siblings is that you guys are so close, that you're so concerned about each other in the grieving process, that you're constantly checking in with each other. Like you're noticing when someone's taking a new hobby a little too seriously. And you're like, is this because of dad or is this something new? And you're noticing changes in your oldest brother who's just like changed in such beautiful ways and become like
Yeah.
such an amazing leader, and it's really cool. And I think you guys are so hyper aware of each other that it's helped you through the grieving process. And you're so concerned about mom, and that I think it's caused you all to reflect more on yourselves as well.
Wow, that was really well said. I haven't thought about that. I appreciate you saying that, though.
I think it's been the same too with all of the wives. Like, we've really checked in on each other, checked in on our husbands, been able to have that line of communication with each other. Like, oh, my Andrew had a hard time talking about this today. And we can kind of converse and be like, I think that's because of dad, JD or guys doing the same thing or whatever. It's just having that community of family that's really helped us.
It still blows my mind that like everyone has someone close to them that has died, and then we're all kind of just walking around this earth with a little bit of sadness. It's like, but people keep it going. But
it makes joy so much better. Having experienced loss and grief and sadness, because it becomes redefined. It's not a material. It's like, it just makes it better. Yeah. And the question about, is it tougher on the holidays? There have been milestones all year that, normal family vacations or new babies or whatever that have been tougher, but it's also given us more chances to be like, dang, Dad, I miss you. I love you. And we'll all get to laugh about what Dad would be doing right now. Or it's made us appreciate it.
Yeah.
As a parent, I spend more time scrolling through the TV and like all of the programs trying to find kid-friendly content than I would care to admit to. And it's really hard to find something that checks all of the boxes and is like good morals, good values, teaches your kids good things,
but also is entertaining.
It's impossible to always find, and it takes so much effort until we found the streaming service Minnow.
Minnow is the premier streaming service for kids that offers faith-based and values-driven content that parents can always trust. We are so excited to be partnering with Minnow because we truly believe in this company and what they stand for.
Minnow has tons of shows, movies, and devotionals that touch on a variety of topics to keep your kids engaged while also filling their minds with what matters most.
Some of our kids' favorite shows include VeggieTales, classic, I grew up on it, Coco Talk, they got the Laugh and Grow Bible series. There's so much good stuff on there. Over 3,000 different videos that your kid will love and you can trust.
It's perfect for family movie nights, sick days, or just some downtime. And let me tell you, guys, I have notes in so many places around our house, on my phones, of blacklisted shows. You never have to worry about that with Minnow. It's all amazing content.
Plus, all their shows and movies are screened by a team of parents, pastors, and educators to ensure that they're age-appropriate, entertaining, and align with faith-based values. I love that we never have to worry about questionable content or ads popping up because we know that Minnow has our kids' best interests in mind. Not to mention that the shows are cute, catchy, and super fun. Our kids love them.
Whether you're a parent looking for content to watch together as a family or just need a break and want to be able to press play and feel okay, try Minnow.
We stream Minnow in our house, and we want you to do the same. Head to gominnow.com and use the code FAMILYMADE to get your first month for free.
That's GOMINNO.com/FamilyMade for 1 free month of Minnow streaming service.
If you want shows that are as entertaining and engaging as everything else, but that reflect your values and teach your kids about the things that actually matter, sign up for Minnow today. Okay, next question. How did you find your post-athlete identity and purpose again?
Trial and error and a lot of time. Community, therapy, and just like you're refinding a passion that has consumed your life. So you have to realize it takes a lot of time.
Well, you're not refining it. You're like burying one passion and having to find a totally new one.
Trying to fill a void.
I'm pretty excited. We're actually just about to finish a documentary about Shawn's post-Olympic journey to date.
One that I didn't know existed and I have yet to see.
It's really well produced, though. You're excited regardless.
I don't know.
I would say this. Everything outside of athletics, when you're an athlete, feels really abstract and kind of unexciting. and less tangible than athletics did. It's like you sit there, you move on to a job, and you're like, what do you mean I'm going to make X amount of money to sit at a desk and send emails for a day, when you're used to like the physical labor of running or flipping or moving weights, whatever it is for you. It just doesn't feel as like exciting or worthwhile, you know? So there's that, just acknowledging that, but also embracing the fact that you have a wonderful brain that you've been given. And then the other thing is realizing that you've spent years and years of practicing day in and day out to finesse to the ultimate degree your sport, right? And like making tweaks to how you're holding the baseball or how you're doing your volleyball grip, whatever it is. And the next thing you do, you have not practiced as much as what you just transitioned out of. You have not practiced your finances as much as you practiced football. And so you're just not going to be as good at it. So realizing that you're kind of regressing and starting a new journey that you can practice a lot.
I am realizing we have so many questions, so I'm going to cut us both off.
Let's do rapid fire.
Rapid fire.
Next one. How do you let each other know when you are in the mood or not in the mood? And how do you deal with the lack of physical intimacy in pregnancy? Wow. Too soon.
Too soon. I really struggle with this because my love language is physical touch, whether it's in like the ow ow way or not.
Ow, ow.
I struggle with it and I just get uncomfortable. I don't feel myself. I want to be able to connect on a physical level, but it's just not there. I would just say a lot of communication. A lot of communication.
We know people that light candles or whatever, do like a sock on the door or whatever it is.
Yeah, I don't know.
Shawn and I have just gotten past the bashfulness of, hey, should we throw down? And we kind of call naked time different things. So it's like, hey, you know, should we do this right now or not? And it approaches it in a funny way. So
yeah.
And then the lack of physical intimacy. It's tough. It's a phase. You got to go through it. So you do it. You just go through it. Next question. What are the most helpful things a husband can do when their wife is postpartum? Sometimes it feels like I don't know how to help when my wife has a baby, but I really want to. Yeah, I respect it, dude.
I think it changes daily. I think it changes weekly. So I think the best thing you can do is ask. Outside of that, little things around the house. Try to like help with laundry or clean dishes or whatever. But I think ask her because I think it's going to change a lot.
I actually disagree with you as the husband. I think without asking, use the 5 love languages and try unasked each of those things.
Unprompted.
Like bring home flowers and see what she thinks, and it'll start a fun conversation. Or like ask or give her a back rub and it'll prompt a fun conversation. Or do the dishes without being asked. And then go from there. If she was like, hey, that meant a lot, or like, wow, that was so special, do a little bit more of that.
I also think, too, you're going to pick up trends of like, for me, it was around the 5 o'clock time every day with Jet that I struggled. So, like, find the vulnerable times and see how you can take weight off of her then.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I also think expressing your desires. So, like, hey, babe, I know that it's tough with the baby, but I would love to have a date night with you, even if it's a half hour outside the house. Maybe you bring the baby, maybe you don't. But like expressing that desire that you have to want to connect and to show that she's loved. You got this, though, dude. Next question. Can you give advice on how to be friends with someone who has an opposite parenting approach as you? That's tough. Oh, parenting gets complicated. We're just on this precipice, I feel like.
It's hard because the relatability kind of goes out the window when you have different parenting styles. But I think the best thing you can do is throw out judgment, throw out any type of like, how could you possibly do it this way? And just let people be and do parenting the way they want to and try to find common ground somewhere else.
And also, it does lend itself to curiosity, like, oh, interesting. Like, can you tell me about why you feed them that formula instead of this one or whatever it is? Not with like the back end being, well, you're doing it wrong, and I heard that that's going to give them, a lower IQ or whatever it is. It's just like a curiosity, and that
We have actually, in full transparency, we have found this to be very difficult. I feel like that is it's kind of polarizing. It kind of separates friends when you parent completely different, because usually your schedules are different. Usually what you're feeding your kids is different. Usually how you're interacting with them or where you're taking them. Your conversations about venting with what just happened as a parent. Everything kind of is opposite. And trying to find common ground to relate on and to like converse about is difficult.
Yeah, let's go back to the first question. It's like styles really get exaggerated during parenting, and it's hard to reconcile those, especially when you're so invested in your own style, and like you've read whatever articles and books, and like you think that's the right way, and then they're doing it differently, and maybe your kids are playing and they're teaching and parenting your kid in their different way. It's like territorial. It's interesting. Would love your take on this listening. Anyway. Next question. Do you have a favorite Bible verse that has really stuck with you?
The Bible verse I have tattooed on my arm. God grants grace to those who are humble. In my interpretation, I love that because I interpret it as just like there's nothing more important than humility. And I mean that in the sense of God. Like being humble under God in every situation, I think is really important.
I like that. Honestly, this is not that deep, but it's affected me. Matthew 2:10 talks about the wise men finding the star of Bethlehem when they're trying to find Jesus. And they say, when they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceedingly great joy. I don't know. I think about where people try to chase joy, and it's like building a business or getting a 6-pack or making $1 million. It's like, no, there's only so many things that can give you joy. Then there's only so many things that can give you great joy. There's probably, in my mind, only one thing that can give you exceedingly great joy. What does that even feel like? Anyway?
Well, I think that honestly ties into the one that I was saying, which is just like being humble in every situation of like, I'm not deserving. I am not entitled. I am not, I can't expect, like being humble to whatever he's teaching me. I think is really important.
That's really good.
Okay. That's James 4:6.
Sorry, last thing. The other one is Isaiah 42:8 says that God will not share his glory, which is like just dope. Like you can't, nothing touches the glory of God.
Yeah.
Sorry. Those are theological thoughts. Go ahead.
On to the next question, which is jolting. When you got married, did you combine finances into joint accounts or do you each have your own? If you guys haven't listened to the episode yet
with Rachel Cruz,
you should listen to it. She has amazing insight in this. It was kind of a no-brainer for us. We combined everything.
No, we didn't actually. We have access to the same bank accounts. Everyone has access to all the bank accounts. But I still had my bank account. You still had yours, and then we had the I guess business one, which was shared. So
true.
We unofficially combined everything. We didn't like delete this bank account or close out one and open up
and
a
like
new
make
one.
New ones. No, we still had separate. I think in my mind, they feel combined because it wasn't like only I can use this credit card or deposit into this account. Like we shared everything 50-50 from day one. We had conversations about prenups. We had conversations about all these things. And to us, it was like, no, we're getting married. What's mine is yours. Let's figure out how to do finances together because we're doing life together.
Yeah. Obviously, there are certain situations where like maybe it makes sense to have a prenup. Yeah. Generally, I would say when in doubt, Shawn and I are not in favor of prenups. There are certain situations, but the reason being is because also Shawn and I came to the table with similar situations,
Mm-hmm.
more or less. But the reason we're not in favor generally is because the end of a story really does color in the journey that it got to get to that story, the end.
If
you know
you
what I'm saying?
start separate, that doesn't help your story.
And maybe the fact that you have to untangle all the finances is enough of a hurdle to make you push through that last conflict
Yeah.
or something. You know what I'm saying?
And it takes away leverage of any kind. It takes away any dangling fruit of like, oh, but I still have this. You know, you don't. Like it wipes the slates clean.
Mm.
It's not easy.
I've gone on several tangents about this, but I think Shawn is one of, I don't know, maybe 300 girls on the face of the earth that I could have married. Probably more, to be honest. But the fact that I said,
your
I'm
pool was
committed,
that big, huh? Wow.
But the fact that we just looked at each other and said, no, you're the one that I'm going to commit to, made all the difference in her becoming the one. We did a whole episode on that, but anyway.
Okay, next question. It says, don't mind me asking, but would you ever get your tubes tied, or would Andrew ever get a vasectomy after baby 3?
We haven't really thought about it yet. We've had brief conversations, probably a vasectomy.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy to think. I mean, I guess that's a phase of life we're in where we're almost past having children.
Which is wild. But yeah, we've had conversations around a vasectomy. Andrew has said, yeah, I'm down.
Wow.
I would probably say vasectomy over tubes tied.
I don't know enough about either, but vasectomy seems more
quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many people work for your company and help run your business? 10 to 12? I always forget. It's hard to count, including Shawn and I don't know. But we have a wonderful team. We're immensely grateful for them. Like we talked about, we're on a lot of different platforms, and that's strictly because we have many generous people who help us. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, we've kind of built like a little organization. I hope that we've done a good job doing it. We don't know what we're doing, but we're learning on the fly.
And I'm proud to say I feel like everyone is like family. We love them. We trust them. Yeah, it's like a family here, which we love.
We've had fun learning about this whole thing, transitioning out of our athletic careers.
Next up, any tips on balancing your time between work, kids, spouse, activities, friends, etc.? Yes, I have tips.
Go ahead.
Prioritize them first. Then distribute your time based off of the priorities. Like if work is number 4 on your list, you shouldn't be spending the most amount of time with work.
Yeah, I think that's probably not the case for most people. But
I just mean like,
honestly think having a physical calendar is probably the best advice I could give, and making time for each of those things. So if you have to be at work from 9 to 5, you put that in your calendar, and then you say, okay, well, the kids wake up at 7. I can be with the kids from 7 to 8:30, and I can drop them off on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and you put that in your calendar. And then you say, I'm going to go on date night on Thursday night. You put that in your calendar.
yes.
I'm going to take the kids on a daddy-daughter date on Wednesday. Put that in your calendar. And then that really does reveal your priorities, as Shawn's talking about.
I totally agree with that, because most of us work 9 to 5. We even work 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. And so our time technically is weighted heavier in work. But we make sure that our weekends are protected around kids. We spend every waking second with them. We get them up in the morning. We make sure to kiss them goodnight at night. Like, it's prioritize your time and make sure you have time for all of it. You schedule it in. This fall, we've been passionate about family traditions.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my favorite fall traditions is making pumpkin French toast for breakfast, because pumpkin is everything. It leaves your house smelling dreamy all day long. And something else I've been passionate about is making sure I'm using top of the line ingredients and making simple swaps where we can.
We've officially made the swap to Eggland's Best Eggs, which has been a game changer considering we eat eggs for breakfast. We use eggs for baking, for cooking, you name it. We eat a lot of eggs in the East House.
We do.
And we're big fans of Eggland's Best because they're available in classic, cage-free, organic, hard-cooked, and various frozen varieties. So there's an egg for every occasion. Who knew?
Plus, they have been the recipient of more than 100 awards for their superior taste, nutrition, freshness, and variety. So you know their eggs have got to be good. What's most important to me is that compared to ordinary eggs, Eggland's Best eggs contain 6 times more vitamin D, 25% less saturated fat, 10 times more vitamin E, and more than double the omega-3s and vitamin B12s.
I feel like it's so apparent whether you're eating a high-quality egg or a low-quality egg. And how do you tell? Answer me.
Taste.
Yes.
Color.
Yes, exactly. The color of the yolk.
Yes.
Anyway, how can you tell that you're using an Eggland's Best egg? Look for the distinctive EB stamp right on the shell. Eggland's Best eggs are available nationwide. To find a local retailer, visit egglandsbest.com.
And if you want to make your own pumpkin French toast or watch Andrew and I make it, you can find the video of our family recipe on YouTube. Just search East Family.
Let's go. We'll link it down below. Last thing, we're also in a phase where, the priorities are kids, probably spouse, kids, work, friends, and activities in that order. Does that seem right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of overlap with us because we work together, so we're together a lot.
I would put friends over work only because every year when we sit down to do our goal settings and do our calendar, we're going to fill in our friends and community stuff before we fill in work.
I agree. But with the last couple of months, us trying to film enough content to get Shawn and I on paternity leave. That's what I'm saying. You goofball.
You goofball.
Last, if you could launch any big project, what would it be? Wow, we just had this big discussion. Nothing. And that's hard to say. We're not usually the no big project type of people. But right now, the priority is the family.
Mm-hmm. This
so
baby.
Nothing.
I feel like we're being more intentional with this third child than we have been just because we've learned so much. But we're really trying to protect maternity and paternity leave. We're trying to protect the holidays. We're trying to give ourselves the greatest chance of success at living in the moment and enjoying what could potentially be our last infant. And trying to give enough space to still be with our other 2 kids and truly enjoy that.
This goes back to the what have we learned? It's like our limits.
Yeah.
We've had opportunities to take over multi-million-dollar companies for pennies on the dollar and run them.
Yeah.
And as much
recently,
as much as we want to do that, and as appealing as that sounds, you see the dollar signs in your eyes. And this is much credit to Shawn. We've fortunately had enough mentors or people pouring into our lives, like the Chins. I remember him talking about they had twins, and every picture that they took, he's on the phone in the background. Mm-hmm. He's like, I wish I didn't do that. Mm-hmm. We've heard enough of those type of stories where it's like, this is a precious phase, these next 5 years of life. Drew will be 9. This baby will be 5. And those first 5, if you have kids, you know those first 5 years, every day is different. Every day is changing.
And every day matters.
It kind of slows down after that point. So we'll see what happens. But we want to embrace this one. So
I will say, to add to that, what's a project we're excited to launch? It's nothing new. It's been in the works for a really long time, but I am getting really excited about it. Is Andrew and I are writing a book together.
Oh, yes.
And it's a topic we both really, really believe in. And we're really excited to share with you maybe in a year.
Probably longer.
Probably longer.
It's super, we'll tell you more. We've already alluded to it on several podcasts, but it's very hard to communicate properly this concept, but I think it could change everything if it is communicated well. So we're finessing.
I think to our longtime listeners and followers, you'll understand the connection, the theme. So
anyway, thank you for listening. Thank you for the questions. And we're thankful for you. Honestly, there's a million podcasts you'd be listening to. This one it's special to Shawn and I because it helps us connect. It helps you and whoever you're listening with connect. We've heard so many wonderful stories of that being the case. And so, we could make it this high stakes political interview and get 1 million views, but we don't want to do that. We just want to drive connection. So
thank you for submitting all your questions. I think we'll probably do another one when we come back from maternity and paternity leave to answer all your questions you have about the next baby. Thank you for listening.
if you listen this far and you haven't rated the show or subscribed or followed, please do so. That's all we got. I'm Andrew.
I'm Shawn.
We're the East Fam. Out.